So welcome to another episode of Drills and Skills. In this series of videos, we look at a particular issue in the golf swing and the problem it's causing for that individual player. We then show you the drills we did to improve the ball flight or the strike. And as well as that, to help everybody out, we'll show you some skills you can do or task-based games that are measurable as well to help you improve if you have the same type of issue. In this case, we're looking at how the quality or lack of quality of turn was a big cause for poor ball striking. Let's do it. So a move we see a lot in the backswing is the trail hip, so my right hip moving away from the target, away from the ball for too long. Now, don't panic about sway in the backswing. It's not such a bad thing if you have it for a short amount of time. So if I set myself up here and move off the ball, as long as by the time my club gets to parallel, so P2 here, I haven't moved any more than that, that's okay. If I carry on going this way in the backswing, for whatever reason, okay, now I've got to recenter. It's very hard to get back to the golf ball if I'm still moving away from it when I get to the top of my swing. If, however, I move off the ball a little amount here, start to turn, I've now got more time to get back to the golf ball and I haven't moved as far off for as long. So a little bit of sway is okay, but what we see a lot of in the swing is people starting like this, trail hip keeps going that way, this way, but quite often that, which was the case we're looking at now. So trail hip goes this way, upper body starts to tilt this way, and we get a lot of this with not much rotation. So as well as causing swings that could be with lack of hand depth, unless you try and pull your hands around here, could be over the top, we get some very big mix and issues with ball striking, particularly because you're moving your mass and the pressure over to the right for too long, and it's very hard to get back. Low point before the golf ball, heavy shots, thin shots, that type of thing. So the move we did in this case was using just a couple of sticks, one for a visual, one for a feel. Now, if you watch myself as I push my hip away, or anytime I move my hip that way, you'll see inside of my trail foot starts to come off the ground. So any sort of lateral movement for too long, or if my hip gets outside the line of my right foot, it's hard to keep that right foot planted. You certainly feel, if you did keep it planted, a lot more pressure on the outside of it. So, with a couple of sticks on the ground, we'll start with what the yellow one's all about. If you set up your trail foot on the yellow stick, or the stick that's furthest back, what we're looking to do when we turn is, as we rotate, trying to keep more of the pressure on the inside of that stick. So as I rotate here, I'm feeling like I'm pressing down on the inside of the stick. If you start to sway, or your hip goes out there for too long, and I get to the top of my swing, and I can still feel more pressure on the outside, I've probably had my trail hip move this way for too long in the golf swing. So top of your swing, can you keep the pressure on the inside or at least level with that yellow stick? Now, something that could happen, which is what the red stick's going to be for, I can do this and move the pressure already to the inside of my right foot. Not a great look at the top of the backswing. That's going to have its own problems as well. So the red stick is to help you synchronize, if you like, the body and the lower body to where this pressure goes. So if I push my hip that way and I sway for too long, upper body tips this side. So I've got my hips going away from the red stick, upper body leaning this way. We're going to do the opposite. If I turn my hip towards the red stick, keeping the pressure on the inside of the yellow stick, turn my hip that way. It might be a small movement off and then a rotation, but my hip's going to work more towards the red stick. My upper body, like the opposite effect, is going to move more over the yellow stick, or certainly behind the red. So bumping the hip that way for too long, head, chest tends to go over here. Turning it this way, head, chest can move the other side. Something quite central is good, but an exaggeration or the opposite end of the spectrum from here would be here. Then you get some very different ball flights. Now, even though your upper body might be this way, because you're not going to slide off the ball for as long, you're still going to have a chance to get back and strike the ball better, and you'll probably lose the heely, slicey shot, which was, again, the case in this example. So a couple of sticks is all you need. Top of your swing is the pressure on the inside of the right foot, or your trail foot, and as your upper body moving slightly more towards the yellow stick, rather than tipping towards the target. So that's your feel. You've got a visual one as well with the red stick. Then let's put it into practice. So to test how it's going, the main issue here was ball striking and moving away from the ball for too long and then not getting back to the ball. Where we started to turn this player a bit more centrally, we now had a chance to get back to the ball at the right time. So the skill or the test we did to measure how the ball striking was improved or how you could improve your ball striking, and this could be because of this reason or it could be another multitude of reasons why you don't strike the ball well. But if you want to test your ball striking out, you can do it various ways. This measurement is something you can do and record to see how well you're doing. You can use the sticks. So if you were working on this move, I would suggest you hit some shots with the sticks there, which is a good thing about this drill. I like drills where you can hit shots and you're not impeded too much. So hit some shots with the sticks. When you're happy with that, we'll test your ball striking out. So here's a ball striking test we are going to do. Picked up an 8-iron here, but anything you want, anything you're working on. I'm going to have one shot. If I think it's a good hit, we're going to record that shot. So let's go first swing of the day. So 8-iron. So whatever carry that is, I'm going to deduct 10 yards. So now 155. Then we're going to hit, up to you, as long as it's consistent, 3-5 more shots. Your goal is taking 10 yards off that decent hit, 155, add 20 yards, maybe 10 yards if you want to, but add 20 yards for this. And I've got now 155 to 175 to land my golf ball in. So it's going to show how consistently you're striking the golf ball. If I get it a bit thin, it might carry that distance, but then you could, we might go over that distance, or you can measure the total distance as well to see what ball flow you've got. But you'll hopefully know what a strike is. And we can measure it by how many are landing and carrying into that particular zone. So if I duff one because I lean over here, hit the ground back, it's not going to be a lot more than 10 yards short. Like a thin one, it might go further. So 155 to 175, let's do 2 or 3 shots, see if I can land them in that zone. Just about, so might have pulled that a bit, so it's going a little bit further, but it's in my 155, 175 zone. Again, slight pull again, so it's going a bit longer. So ball striking okay. I might have to do a different test and sort my direction out, so that felt like a little bit of a pull again. Let's try one more, and if I get the club face a bit better, it shouldn't go too far. So about in that zone. There we go. So you can do that. It might be if you have 5 shots, you only get 2 out of 5 for the first time, maybe 5 the next week, 4 or 5, and you can measure how well you're doing. So that was a drill. That's a little test. You can measure it, keep the test consistent, and you can see how your ball striking is improving.